Hey everybody, and welcome to a channel update. So, first off, before I begin, I want to tell you guys that I'm going to be showing up at Too Many Games in Oaks, Pennsylvania at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center. I'm going to be there from June 22nd to 24th, and if you're into video games at all, you probably should show up. I go there every year and I always have an amazing time. And if you want to learn more about it, there's going to be a link in the description below. Just head there and just take a look. Now, the second thing I want to talk to you folks about is that we've brought back Rerez 2. Now, for those of you that don't know, Rerez 2 is our secondary channel where we used to stream live videos and stuff like that, and we haven't really updated it in a while. But we've come back and decided to do something a little bit different. We're now doing a show called Hot Take. Now, Hot Take is all about finding out about the biggest, baddest news out there for the video game industry and reporting it to you and sharing our own opinion about it. Sometimes it's just me, other times it's going to be Adam, and once in a while you're going to see Adam and me together kind of complaining to each other about what we think is going to happen with whatever opinion that we may share from one another. The whole thing is going to be pretty fun, and we've been doing it pretty much daily. Sometimes you actually get more than one video a day, so I would heavily recommend that you guys head over to the Rerez 2 channel and take a look. Again, that's in the description below. Now, at long last, let's talk about the studio. A little while ago, I mentioned to all you folks that I really want to start up a YouTube studio that basically just created Rerez videos and a bunch of stuff like that. But it was really difficult to do because, well, studios are expensive, and I really didn't think we were going to be able to manage it. But because of every single one of you watching our videos and sharing them and doing all that fun stuff, including subscribing, you've made Rerez bigger than it's ever been in the past. We've been able to grow this entire place without any brand deals, without any side advertisements or anything like that. Every single video we've ever produced has always been our own opinion without any other third party being involved, and that's all because of you. And now, we've got this studio. The room we're in right now is called Studio A, and Studio A is basically just a room with a big TV in it. Yeah, a couple of you thought that this was a green screen, but it's not. It's just a 75-inch TV I sit in front of that we have a whole bunch of videos running on. See, I can switch it out at any point that I want and do something different behind there. Like, actually play an episode from Rerez, which is kind of weird and awkward, but you know, that's the idea. We basically wanted to do something like this so that we could produce videos a lot faster, which is one of the things we're doing on Rerez 2. With this whole studio, with this whole setup, we're able to produce videos faster than we've ever done in the past. Because before this, we were in a basement that was really, really small, and we'd have to tear down things and build things back up whenever we wanted to do something. But now, we've got this place. But it gets even better. We also have a basically storage locker, which I know sounds kind of boring, but we needed a place to store all the elements that we were looking at. Every single console, every single game, and every single controller, and all the really bad ones too, all go into this storage room. Then we had to set up a room that's basically called the Retro Room, where we have a whole bunch of video game systems set up where we can just test things and basically try them out as we go along. Whether it be a new controller that comes out or even an old one, we're capable of taking them to the Retro Room and testing them out really, really fast. Then we have a streaming and voiceover room. Now this room is completely padded up and you won't hear any echoes or reverberations, and we can get the cleanest, best audio quality that we can possibly muster. And this room, you've probably seen me in before if you've ever watched one of my streams, because we have that room decked out for streaming every single moment of the day. Anytime I want to stream, I just walk in and turn it on. And if I need to record any kind of game footage, we have all the video game systems that are current right now plugged in and ready to record instantly. We also have an editing room where we've set up a bunch of computers so that we can edit footage really quick. I know that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but when we were actually making videos in the basement, we didn't have a dedicated room to edit stuff, so we were just kind of running out of space all the time. But with this room, we don't have to worry about that. Every single room is set up like this in a very quick to use way so that we can run in and make anything we want on the fly. There's no delay, there's no wait, there's no pull down and setup. It really makes everything and producing videos really, really fast. And for longtime fans of Rerez, we also have one more room that I think a couple of you might be really interested in. That's right, Positives is coming back. But we're not going to show you what's in that room just yet, keeping that for a surprise. But we have a lot of other items in the studio that we're really happy to show off, like our YouTube award for getting 100,000 subscribers, and a really nice painting that Square Painter did of Snatcher, one of my favorite video games ever, and this is one of my favorite scenes from the video game. That's a hand-painted painting that took Square Painter a long time to do. We've got a lot of these items in the studio that just basically make us feel like we can produce here a lot faster and a lot easier, and it's quite a big deal. Now, a whole bunch of you reached out to me on Twitter to ask me a bunch of questions, and I promised that I was going to answer some, which seems like the first time I've ever done that in a pre-recorded video, but let's get to it. RGT85, that's Sean Long, asked, how do you make such fancy videos with Windows Movie Maker? 8-Bit Brody asked, is there a toilet downstairs? Yes. One. Alexander asks, I don't know if this has been asked before, but what's your all-time favorite video you've made and what's your least favorite? I would definitely say my all-time favorite video that we've ever made on the channel has probably been one of the worst ever videos. If I had to really pick, probably worst ever 3. I just love the way that video looks, I like the way it came out, and I really think it captured everything we've been trying to go for on the channel. The worst one though, the one that I'm not a big fan of, definitely the one where I said Anita Sarkeesian should have directed Mirror's Edge 2. At the time, I had an idea for what I was going there for, but I think the whole thing kind of fell apart, and I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that video. I think I've turned advertising off on it and all that stuff because I just want it to fade away. But there's a lot of videos I've done that I'm not like super happy with. That one though is by far the worst. Rami Alam asks, what are the advantages and disadvantages of operating and owning a studio? This is actually a really good question. Now before, when I had my studio in the basement, I would just go to the basement whenever I wanted to make a video. And it really wouldn't cost a lot to travel there or cost a lot to upkeep because it was just my average living expenses were just basically a part of the studio down there because it was my house. But now with the studio outside, we have to worry about electrical costs, we have to worry about rent, we have to worry about parking, we have to worry about the internet costs, insurance, and so many other things. It really can be a little bit more expensive, but the benefits far outweigh the negatives. For instance, one big thing is I actually have like a dedicated amount of time I spend during the day working on videos. Before, I would be in the basement pretty much all day and all night, not really considering the amount of time I was putting into work. And when I have all this stuff set up somewhere else, I can just go into work and leave whenever I want to. And when I leave, it makes me feel a lot better because I'm not keeping my work at home with me. I know it seems not like a big deal to some folks, but you really need to be able to space out your work from your home life and your work at your actual office where you do all your work. With this studio, it's given me a better opportunity to manage my time and basically just keep everything going a lot faster than we've ever been able to go before. Ethan asks, what was your first system as a kid? My cousins brought over an Atari 2600 for one evening, and I think they left it there for a long time, so in my mind, the very first console we ever owned was the Atari 2600, but I don't think we did. The very first console I remember my parents actually buying and keeping in the house was an NES. The NES became one of the defining factors of my early childhood because, well, a lot of kids in my neighborhood that didn't own consoles or did own consoles would exchange video games with each other and consoles themselves as we'd like bring them to each other's houses. The NES was so important to me and it became one of the most important video game consoles I ever played. And to this day, I'm still such a huge fan of it. Steven _ asks, why are you so angry lately? I don't think I am. You gotta understand, a lot of the videos we produce, I kind of put on a bit of a character just to make it a little bit more fun to watch. Normally, I don't actually get super angry when playing video game systems, but when a console is ruining my time because it's actually taking way too long to beat something or to achieve some kind of basic function, I do get angry at those points. Typically though, everything I'm doing in front of the camera is more or less just some kind of performance piece just to kind of make the videos a little bit more fun to watch. Normally though, the way I'm speaking to you right now, this is how I typically speak to people without being weird, I think. I might be very weird in real life and just nobody has told me yet. Now the last question is one that I've been asked about a billion times, so I'm not going to point any one person out for this. What does Rerez mean? Well, first up, Rerez isn't my last name. That's just not how that works. Initially, when I'd play online games with my friends like Day of Defeat or Counter-Strike or even Quake, all those games basically had you get killed at some point and then you had to respawn. And when you were respawning, we used to call that being Rerezed. It was the alternate to being derezed, which is what happens when you get killed in a video game. Rerezing is just waiting to respawn, and that was basically what we named the channel after. I thought of the name because I just hadn't heard it in a while, and I thought it'd be really fun to basically use it as the channel's name, and it kind of stuck ever since. It's not even the first name of the channel. Before, we had another name going, and I even forget what that was, but Rerez is the one that kind of stuck with me and just has been there ever since. Folks, thank you so much for watching this video, and I can't wait to see a bunch of you at Too Many Games. And again, be sure to tune into Rerez 2. It's a channel we're putting a lot of time and effort into, and I think a lot of you are really going to like it. Catch you next time.